Hi, I'm Elizabeth with Wallace Yarn Creations. Welcome. Today I'd like to show you how you can put all those little yarn scraps and leftovers to good use by knitting a curtain, a blanket, a wrap, or a scarf. It's an easy 2-row pattern, and the pattern is available on our website. You can print it for free. The website is wallaceyarncreations.com. The pattern works for pretty much any yarn, any thickness, and you're very flexible in the yarn amount you need. It's a highly adaptable pattern. The sample I'm knitting is going to be a curtain. As you can see, it's very colorful. You're seeing about half of it, since it's quite long to make a curtain. I'm using a fingering weight yarn, our cotton yarn. And as you can see by the colors, it's all odds and ends and oddballs. Of course, if you don't have enough left over for a project, you can always order yarn from our website. The pattern is knitted in all garter stitch in strips, as you can see. The first strip is knitted by itself, and then each subsequent strip is knitted to the previous one, so there is no sewing involved. You attach the strips as you go along. I'm going to show you in a minute how that is done. For my project, I'm using our fingering weight cotton yarn. I'm casting on 45 stitches for each strip, which gives me a width of 5 inches. And my strips are 67 inches long. So I need about 90 grams per strip, or 430 yards. But the project is highly adaptable. You can make the strips wider or narrower, depending on the project you have in mind and the yarn you have. As I said, any yarn works, any colors, something colorful as I'm making, or something less colorful in a uniform color. Whatever you have in mind works. So let me show you how the pattern works and how to join the strips together. The pattern starts with a slipped stitch. Slip the first stitch with yarn in front. Then we have a decrease, slip, slip, knit, and then continue knitting until you reach the marker. Both rows are knitted, so it's all in garter stitch. Makes for easy, relaxed knitting. When you get to the marker, stop one stitch before and make one. Knit one, slip the marker, make one, and continue knitting the row. It doesn't really matter how you make those 2 stitches, as long as you're consistent. Whatever method you prefer works, but you want to use the same method throughout to create an even, pretty look. When you get to the end of the row, knit together the second and third last stitches, another decrease like this, and then slip the last stitch as if to knit. Yarn over. Now we're going to pick up and knit 1 stitch from the previous strip, like this. Pass over the last 2 stitches, the one we slipped and the yarn over. And we have joined the 2 strips. Turn around. You can tuck this a little tight. slip the first stitch with yarn in front, and then continue knitting just like before. So both rows are knitted, creating garter stitch. And the pattern consists of only those 2 rows, which are easy to memorize. When you come to the marker, slip that marker, slip the next stitch with yarn in front, and continue knitting to the end of the row. I have 45 stitches on the needle, so the rows are fairly short, making quick progress. And if you're using odds and ends, it's fun to see the colors change. So let me show you one more time how to join the strips together. Again, we start with a slip stitch. Slip the first stitch with yarn in front. Then comes decrease, slip, slip, knit. Knit to the marker. In my case, that's 19 stitches. I'm using a size 6 needle with fingering weight cotton. Stop 1 stitch before the marker and make 1. Knit 1, slip the marker, make 1, and continue knitting. This pattern works for any yarn, any thickness. You can cast on as many or as few stitches as you like. So you're coming to the end of the row, knit together the second and the third last stitches, another decrease, and slip the last stitch knitwise like this, yarn over. Now we're picking up the next stitch and knitting it. Pass over the last 2 stitches, the one we slipped and the yarn over, to create this pretty edge and to join the 2 strips. Turning around, slip the first stitch with yarn in front, pull it a little bit tight, and continue knitting. The yarn over is important because that creates this pretty edge. And you will see right away if you have missed it. And one more thing to keep in mind when you come to the marker. You slip the marker, and then you slip the next stitch with yarn in front. That also creates a pretty center stitch, which adds structure and a little character to the knitting. We just finish the row, then I show you what I mean. Almost there. So if you look at the front side, You see how the middle stitch creates a pretty edge, and how the two strips are joined together, also creating a pretty edging here. I mentioned earlier that you can adjust the strips easily in width. So this is how the first row looks written. Slip 1 with yarn in front, slip, slip, knit, a decrease, knit 19 in my case, make 1, knit 1, make 1, knit 19, knit 2 together, the second decrease, and end with the last stitch, slip 1 knitwise. So you see the 2 times 19 stitches that I have on either side of the marker. That's the place where you can adjust the size of the strips, casting on more or fewer stitches to adjust the width as you like and prefer for your project. One thing I didn't mention before is the pretty edge this pattern creates. So you see, just by following the pattern, you have this zigzaggy edge, which makes for a pretty finish, and it looks the same at the beginning of your project as well as at the end. So when you're done, your project is long enough, you can just bind off and you have a really beautiful result. Hope you got some ideas and some inspirations. As I said, the pattern is available on our website. You can print it for free. Website is wallaceyarncreations.com. And while you're on our website, please sign up for our newsletter. The sign up is on our homepage. I send out a newsletter every week or 10 days, telling you about new yarn colors, events coming up, perhaps a new video we have released, mystery knit-alongs, that kind of things. And that way you're always knowing what's going on. I promise I will not spam you. So that I hope you got some inspiration today. Thank you for watching and happy knitting.